Alright, so I got this boat for free, and there's a crack running from about here all the way to the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiberglass it, but in order to make sure the fiberglass gets a really good bond, I need to come over it with, I need to sand it. So I have my M12 die grinder with 120 grit sandpaper. I'm just going to rough it up, and the fiberglass is going to go from about here up down to here. So I'm just going to start here, start roughing it up. I want that on 3. I'm just wanting to rough it up, give that sandpaper, give that fiberglass something to stick to. There you go. Yeah. You want to make sure you're going at least a couple inches past the crack. I'm just kind of doing the perimeter right now, or the edges, the boundaries, and then I'll just sand until I hit the boundary. Alright. Doing good job roughing it up. Okay, it's pretty good. Then what you'll need to do is you'll need to get some alcohol on a paper towel and just wipe it down really good. Then you'll cut your fiberglass piece to length, and then you'll go ahead and apply the patch and the fiberglass. Now I'm going to go ahead and move to the next. I have several patches that I'm going to be doing today, so we'll just move to the next one. So you can see here is a patch that was applied. This is boat repair tape. I'm going to fiberglass over it. So I just want to go all the way around it, a couple inches, scuff it up, so that the fiberglass patch that I put over this has really good bonding. There you go. Just like that. And scuff that tape up a little bit so it has a really good bond. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna be good. All right, move to the next one. Got a pretty good sized one here. Gonna go at least an inch or so all the way around. And then once I went all the way around it, I'll come back and scuff up the patch itself. Let's see, my batteries might be dead. Nope, not yet. Still got one bar. Yep, battery's dead. Milwaukee M12 battery products are really handy, but I wish they had a little better battery life. Went ahead and threw that other battery on the charger. Okay, so now I've got all the edge around it. Pretty well done. I'm just going to skim over this. This is a waterproof tape, but I want my fiberglass to go over it because this tape's a really slick surface. I want to make sure my fiberglass sheet gets a really good bond to this tape. Lightly scuffing it with that 120 grit. Gonna make sure we get a really good bond. All right, move to the next patch. Now this one here, I don't even think it's really a through hole, but I'm gonna go ahead and sand it. I'm gonna put some resin. I'm gonna put some resin over it, just to make sure. If it was an issue, it won't be anymore. Got another one right here. Same thing. Gonna go all the way around it. About an inch. And I'm gonna gently come over the top of that. That way the fiberglass, when I lay it, can get a good bond. There we go. And if you see any other areas as you go along, it'd be a good time to go ahead and scuff them up. One last patch. Just like I've been doing all along, go 1 or so inches around the patch, and then lightly scuff over the previous sealing tape. Just want to make sure that The fiberglass once again gets a good bond. All right. That's that. Next step. I think I'll go ahead and go over this previous patch. Someone else had done this.
Well, major bummer, guys. I thought I was recording, but apparently I ran out of data, so I just had to go delete a bunch of videos. Unfortunately, I already did the repair. So what I did is I took my bulk resin and hardener, and for every 1 ounce of resin, you use 10 drops of hardener. And basically what I did is, these were all the areas on the top of the deck that I had caulked, and I went over them with resin and fiberglass cloth. So what I did first is the same as I did earlier, is I sanded a couple inches all around the crack, and then you take the resin and I used a 1 inch wide brush, and I brushed it really good coat down there, and I had blue nitrile gloves on. And then what you do is you lay the cloth down and you push it in there with your fingers, and then you brush away from the crack, or away from the corner with the brush, dipping it in resin, pouring more resin on. So that cloth, resin alone, it'll hold to a certain extent, but that cloth just really reinforces it. So there's about a 2 inch crack there, and I used a 4x4 piece of cloth. There's a 1 inch crack there. I used a 3 inch by 3 inch piece of cloth. I basically used a piece of resin and cloth the entire way down that crack. There was just a few cracks, like there was a crack, there was a crack, there was a crack, but I wanted to just really reinforce it for the future. And there's a crack in this corner, I got that reinforced. There's a crack back here, I reinforced that. There's a crack there, I reinforced that. Here's a couple areas where I drilled and shot foam, added just additional foam into the deck. So I just went over that with some resin to keep the water out. Turned out pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the big one on the side here. This was a really big crack. It basically went from, that's about 7 inches right there. So it's about a 7 inch crack. I went ahead and put a piece of cloth that was 14 inches long. So it really went above and beyond the 1 to 2 inches of extra coverage. But I just really wanted to reinforce this area of the boat significantly. There was another, someone probably hit something right there. I really reinforced that. All this is cured now. So 62 degrees when I started working on this project this morning. It's about 70 something degrees now, and it's all fully hardened. It says it'll take up to 24 hours to fully cure, but I mean, I cannot even put a nail imprint into this, so I'm really happy with it. If you remember earlier, there was a really big crack. It went all the way from here to about here, and I did the same thing. I filled this channel with resin. I just poured a bunch of resin in there, and then I took the fiberglass cloth and went up into that crack, over that edge, up and over this edge, okay, and then all the way down there. And then I just poured resin over. I actually did 2 coats of resin here, so it got a really, looks really good. I'm very happy with it. I'm gonna get my sander, and I'm just gonna come around some of these edges here, get some of this extra little stuff just knocked off. But yeah, the crack itself, it was right in there. It's reinforced. I mean, it's so strong now. There's no way this thing's gonna give me a problem there. I had a patch here someone else had put like a piece of plexiglass or something in there, caulked around it. I took about a 10 by 10 piece of fiberglass cloth, put it there. There's a little 1-inch crack there. I reinforced it there. There was a small crack there, reinforced that there. Let's see what else I got here. There was a small crack there. It was about 1.5 inches long. I put a 6 by 6 piece of cloth over it. Some minor scratches. I just went ahead and put some resin on them. It wasn't really a crack, it was just more of a scratch, but I was like, you know what, I got extra resin here. I'm just gonna pour it over it and it'll be fine. Here was about a 2-inch crack. I put a 6 by 6 piece of cloth over it. This front here, there was a pretty good hole. There was a hole here, so I filled that all with caulk. And then it was about a 1.5 inch hole, and I went ahead and put a 20 by 12 inch patch there, and I did it in 3 separate pieces, and I overlapped each piece by 1 inch, 1.5 inches. There was a small crack here. I went ahead and put a 4 by 4 patch there, and then over here there was a small crack. That's mainly resin, but on the corner there I do have some cloth, and then down here there was a sizable crack where you can see that yellow stuff right there. That's where the caulk was at, and I went ahead and put like a 2-foot patch there. So super excited about this boat. This boat was free. It just required some patches. Next step is, I'm gonna go fishing today, but here in a few days I'm gonna paint everything from this lip down black, and everything from that lip up is gonna be gray. So give a new paint job, kind of brighten things up a little bit. It's just kind of an ugly, dull green right now. This thing's from the mid-90s, so it's really old and faded, but I'm gonna brighten it up a little bit. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to this boat repair project. Thank you, have a great day.